depression or anxiety that these students are going through. Also, with attitudes with seeking professional help, I use this survey as well. Research shows that the population subgroups that are less likely to or saw less value in seeking psychological help should be targeted. But I use this in particular, this survey, to test and measure the attitudes that Black men and women, students at Xavier University, the attitudes that they have towards seeking professional help. Research already knows that the attitudes is negative, but with my research, new unique research will show, okay, if they're presented with different profiles that can actually fit their needs, would their attitude change? This is something that I will have to find out and measure, and also test the value in seeking professional help and their preferences to cope, if their coping mechanisms might change. And my next scale is satisfaction with life scale. The satisfaction life scale, I use this to test the measures of mental health and also predictive of future behaviors. So when they're presented with these profiles, would their future behaviors change compared to them just hearing about mental health and going to counseling centers when they are not given the full um, depiction from me on how the counseling centers can change? Would their behaviors change in the future, or would they stay the same? Then the last one is global mental health scale. It traces how the conception of mental health as a global problem became possible through the emergence of global health. And with global health, I use this scale to test to test out what level of care someone may need and how well certain treatments might work. This scale is really needed to actually determine, when they are presented with these 2 to 3 different profiles, the level of care that they're getting now, being at the level of care is to their expectations. How do they, if the level of care is to their expectations, then is it working for them in their favor? Are they actually getting somewhere where they want to be, in a better and healthy state? Come on. Okay. Okay, so my results are expected to support that Black men and women aren't willing to seek help from treatment, to seek treatment from counseling centers. But with this is, like I said, this is something that is already known, that Blacks have a low percentage with seeking mental help. But given that counseling centers can now advocate for these Black students, being that they can reach their expectations and try to find the relatability and find how can they relate to these students. And this can also change the negative stigma surrounding mental health that is within the Black community. The overall weakness that are part of this research is the amount of information on counseling centers helping these students. Finding research on counseling centers in particular, only focusing on helping Black students, was very limited, this is a weakness and a limitation. It's missing information within the research because there isn't enough data on counseling centers helping. But the overall strength is knowing how to break mental health barriers in the Black community. And that strength is having to give them something on the table where they know, okay, you're giving me a counseling center that's is to my needs and it's to my interests as well. If I give you a counselor who is, for instance, someone that's like me, with, you can understand, okay, She knows what she's talking about. She's there for me. We connected. You will continue to go. Or if you're presented with a counselor who wears a suit every day, who's really cold and stern, and you're not very comfortable with them, you're not going to open up with them compared to me. So with this new information given to students, I know that it will be the overall strength of this research. These are my references. And thank you for listening to my presentation.
Okay.
Okay, so I have 4 questions. I can stop sharing. Okay, so what are your, I'm sorry. Let me, I had to record. Okay, what are your initial reactions, thoughts, etc. to my study?
I definitely agree with a lot of things that you say. Being a Black girl and a part of the African American society community, like I think trust like is a big thing for us. And yeah, I'd like you had a lot of facts in there that I definitely would agree with.
Okay, so with you being um, a Black girl as well, and you're also a student and you have a job as well, how does that play out for you, being that you're in these student shoes as well?
Um a lot of things that the world lack is like trust with people. So it's like with all of this going on, um I just think that's like a big thing that we should work on because I don't know, with all that going on with like me having a job, being in school, like you kind of need somebody you can trust and talk to help you get through things. And a lot of people just need that advice. So
Right.
it's really hard.
It is. It's really hard, especially nowadays. People just use unhealthy coping mechanisms like smoking weed, drinking, or even social media. So they don't see that those mechanisms are going to last you long and they're very unhealthy. What
Very.
questions do you have?
Um, what questions do I have? I mean, I don't know. I just think I can talk about it. Like I just feel like that's something that the world should like make big, not only with Black people but with other races. Like just having someone to talk to, like they should make that more in the world. But it was a nice presentation and a lot of information, a lot of stuff that I've honestly never thought about. So
Okay, so I guess for someone who you are directly impacted by the variables in my study, do you think that the results from the study may benefit you? Being like I was saying, if you're presented with 2 or 3 different profiles of counseling centers, one basic and the others optimal, being more of your needs, would this benefit you to know, okay, there's a counseling center that can fit my needs?
yeah, I think so. It helps, with the positive vibes, like, and just kind of knowing that I have someone there, like when I go through things. So I think it'll definitely benefit me. Um,
Um,
like,
I'm sorry, you go.
I'm just saying it just gave people more motivation to do better in life and to go about things in a better way.
Okay. Any last pieces of feedback or thoughts you would like to share with me?
Um, like I said, I just think the world should like kind of make it more of a thing about trust because there's a lot of things that the world got going on and people just to themselves and got stuff going on. And yeah.
So I guess your question that you were trying to say earlier, I guess would be how can this also benefit other races as well? Because you talked about everyone in the world. So would that be your question then?
Yeah.
Okay. So how would it benefit? So how would this research also help for other races? That's a good question because we know Black community is mistrust, but for those who are Caucasian, Asian, Hispanic, how are they when it comes to seeking mental health? That's a good question. Okay. Well, thank you, Tatiana Coleman.
You're welcome. Let's see.
Hmm.